Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Monkey Business Show, episode 11. We have Johan back, whoop, whoop, and he brought reinforcements. Really, Johan? This is the only one you can find to join the podcast today? Out of all the cool people you had in Dubai, this is the one that you brought?
We're not getting paid, Jay.
The budget guest?
Jesus, I'm the only one dumb enough to do this for free.
Well, not with that
I'm
attitude.
even adding promotional material for you.
How you doing, guys? How are you guys? How was Dubai?
I can go, I guess, but no, man, Dubai was crazy. Dubai is unlike any place on earth. I'm sure of it. I've seen a bit. I've been to Vegas once. I would compare it a bit to Vegas, but it's a different place, man. It is, yeah. Didn't have a bad meal. Weather was incredible. I don't really know. Like, I can't really compare it too much. I think it's a unique, very unique place.
Yeah. People think we aren't going to colonize Mars, should go to Dubai, because we basically just did it's just like a fuck you to nature, you know? It's like we have a desert, we're going to build a megapolis and just let's go. And I think, you know, over 20, 30 years, like you now have this massive, like way larger than I think I realized. I think Notel spent more time there, like after the fact. I only actually went into the city proper one time, but I was just kind of blown away. Went to the Palms, but we were in a different section, like closer to the venue. So we weren't really in Dubai. We were in suburbia, but real Dubai was mind blowing.
How was the tournament? I mean, it was the first LAN in a very long time. Oh, maybe just for us. Other people go to LANs because they make it to the majors.
I mean, I enjoyed it.
I think everybody did. I think everybody who was at the tournament enjoyed it. I think it was a very well executed from players' point of view, and I was on the other side this time, and I could say I had a lot of fun. And I think the talent group was. I kind of joined a group that had been on the road together before. Like I was the new kid in the tour group, and I could tell that there was smooth running. I mean, a lot of experience, a lot of also like critical minds, as in they've done it before, so they also know what good and more poor events look like. And I would say everybody from backstage and production and talent were quite happy with how it ended up and what got pulled off. Yeah, I mean, I had a great time. Well, Kyle, I had some. There were some good moments with him and Max that I'll never forget. Yeah. I like Kyle as a stage host. I know Kyle has maybe a different opinion on stage hosting in the future, but I think he should.
No, bro. No, man.
You're the Mr. Bean of Dota.
For me, the best meme is the golem photo. That killed me.
What's wrong with you guys? You're supposed to help my brain. You got me looking like this. Oh no.
You look like that on your own, okay?
That's true.
This is on you.
It was.
You were working really hard yesterday night, so this is just whatever time you could find.
Very hard.
But yeah, dude, how was for you hosting and all this? And I mean, the We Play event was a lot of you actually doing it and putting it together with the great team that you were working with.
Yeah, I mean, the storylines. I guess we can get into it. I don't know if there's ever an opportunity where I would speak to this in a different environment, but that event, like from a We Play perspective, I think it would have been completely and from what I understand, it was expected that We Play was going to cancel. The only staff on the ground were actually the engineers who were responsible for setup, you know, building the stage, building the lights, like 18 people. I think I'm included in that number. And when we originally made like the event plan, there were 73. So we're doing it with like 1/4 the staff. And the engineers taught themselves how to actually operate production, you know, press the buttons themselves. And there were a couple guys like Plesha, our producer, who's done every We Play event that I've worked on before, is still in Kyiv. And he was going, when an air raid went off, he would have to go to the shelter. And when it ended, he would come back to his PC and continue talking Max through setup, how the buttons would be pressed, how things would actually be operated. So the idea that the show was excellent, and in my view, it was both enjoyable to work, and I think from a viewing experience, it was solid, blows my fucking mind. Like, blows my mind. Because this was, like, look at the crew photo. I'll have to find it. You guys have a good editor, right? Look at the crew photo from the Animajor and compare that to the Galaxy event in Dubai. It is mind-blowing. You go from a massive stage full of people to like 25 guys. And we had people come in. Shout out a huge thank you to Moose or Maurice Zimmerman, who you guys know. I don't know if the fans would know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's done every player profile since like TI6. And he was the reason we had content because he flew in with like 1 day notice. And thank God he did the filming, the editing, and the pushing to the show in that one game break. Yeah, that was all him. Okay. Like if it weren't for him, you would be judging my performance based on my stage hosting, and I don't know if I would have found more work. So
I thoroughly enjoyed those interviews, backstage interviews. They were good fun. You gotta take credit, Kyle. You can't be so hard on yourself. It was like your first time doing many of these things, right?
Yeah,
I hope so.
I hope
that was the first time.
You know what? You know why it happened? I was like flying out to Dubai. I was like getting into my plane, and Max messaged me like, "Hey man, we have a really good place to do interviews on stage." I'm like, "Awesome. Who do you have in mind?" You, bro.
You stepped up to it. I would say you stepped up to it. I enjoyed the show from a viewer experience too, what I got to see. I also did enjoy the Dota, even though I think it wasn't the easiest perhaps to get hyped about another tournament on a patch that wasn't so we're used to more changes. But I would say all the teams, I mean, nobody came there with any type of mindset other than like, let's play our best and let's keep, pushing things to limit. And we did see new strats, we did see new things, and we saw also Boom do crazy stuff, and we saw things break. I mean, LC was broken and whatever. So all in all, I think the show was amazing. Like from a Dota viewing perspective, it was really cool. It's been so long. Maybe it's because I'm there, but I felt like maybe the viewers caught that too. It's been so long since we had a hype LAN tournament like that. It's been so long.
Yeah. Not just hype, it was relaxing because it's not TI. The only one we had to compare to was TI. And I really don't want to talk about TI. It was not the same vibes. We'll put it like that. But this was it was a very comfortable environment. From talking to players, everyone thinks that they're these prima donnas, and a couple of them are, like this guy. But end of the day, all people want is like a short shuttle ride from the hotel to the venue. They want to be able to play Dota. Talking to Kuroki, he's just like, I just want a good practice room. That's it. Nothing else matters. Give me a practice room. And when you have this third-party event, the prize pool is still high, but it's not, it's not $40 million. So people can actually kick back and enjoy themselves. I think people were a lot more willing to do content for that reason. There was this, you weren't there, Jay. You should have come out. But there was this outdoor area at the hotel where every night people were just kind of like hanging out, chilling by the pool, shisha, maybe a beer. It's good times.
Kyle, are you okay, dude?
I'm very okay. I just don't look okay. I don't look okay at all. That's the problem.
No.
Oh, no.
I can't tell.
Okay, dude. Do you want to postpone it or?
No, I'm fine. I'm fine. My brain is here.
This is somewhere here.
Arkosh, it's the Arkosh effect. We're just trying to destroy our individual brands one at a time. We got BSJ with our last video, and this one's going to be mine.
Kyle, did you know that I was the one that edited the last video?
Were you really?
Yeah.
That's incredible. I'm gonna tell BS. Oh, that's great.
What is the video? What is the video?
What is the BSG stuff? BSG stuff.
Yeah. We're rolling, by the way. This is gonna make it into the podcast. I want to see the video.
Yeah. Well, okay, so you know how Arkosh works, right? So you have the 5 players that are anonymous, and then you have the content team. So we like make up their comms as if we were playing the game. And the
So
character
it's
that
fake.
BSJ has
It's
developed,
fake.
totally,
The comms are
everything
fake.
is fake. I don't actually
Fuck
play.
this. I'm done.
You think I play Division 1 Dota? There's no way. There's no way I would do that.
It's
So
America. It's not that hard.
BSJ, don't flame America. BSJ plays this character of like the serious one, and the 4 of us, are pretending to just clown around and not really take the game serious.
Stay on the microphone, dude. Stay on the microphone.
I'm working on it. Okay.
Okay.
I need like some kind of box. Hang on.
This is the really the broadcaster professional.
If you have talent, you don't need to invest too much in the infrastructure. You know what I mean?
You don't need a
tell.
box.
This is why you're talking like this, and you go like this, and you go like this, and you come back in the middle of a sentence, and you leave away. You're doing flybys.
I will hang on. I'm not putting this in the podcast. You would leave it in.
So you were talking about how they have this persona and all this is fake, and that, yeah, you're playing actually today, right?
Tomorrow.
Okay.
No. What's today? Thursday?
Thursday. Yeah.
Yeah, I play tomorrow.
Okay, you seem ready. But anyway, let's
my
bring it back to Dubai.
The only requirement was that they were like, please, Kyle, play at least 5 games of Dota before our match. I played 2, and it was enough to learn Omni Knight and Coddle, so I'm ready. It's so good, actually. This new W on Omni is hilarious. Like, what kind of mechanic is it? Oh, if you use this with like high value, you get a longer duration. It's like we're playing fucking Hearthstone. Like, oh, you were slowed. Now it's a bonus time. Now I have 100% uptime. How does that make sense?
I kind of like it. I kind of like it because it's strong and.
Microphone, eh?
Oh my!
Sorry, go ahead. Johan.
I'm gonna get a
You're
goddamn
still hating
box.
the microphone. Yeah. Okay, after a few technical troubles, we're back. So we guys were talking about Dubai, and we were talking about that the experience was great. Guys were extremely understaffed. But I agree with you, Kyle. It really felt like really good vibes. And through the content, it really felt that the player rooms and the players were having fun. And I really think it showed up on the broadcast and how everybody was just, I don't know, it felt like cool vibes. And even the casting, our friend here did a very unique and interesting job, Johan. I was laughing the whole time. How was it for you? And for you, Kyle, seeing the bios casting?
But it'll be good. See, Notel, he had a couple of things going for him, right? This is your first formal talent gig, right?
Mm-hmm.
So first off, in your first gig, everybody loves what you're doing because they haven't seen it enough to be tired of it. Then there was also the perk of the whole 2TIs thing. Personally, I think he's overrated. But the thing is, when you do your first gig, you have all these people who just love it because you have a totally new perspective. I think Notel, obviously, you've got that in spades because the whole 2TI thing. However, if this were to continue, Event 3, Event 4, God forbid you do like a DPC season and every game Notel's casting and he's biased, you feel like I gotta stay close to the microphone. You would feel like how do I put it? Like the community shift, right? Whatever makes up our feedback, Reddit, Twitch chat, Twitter, etc. They start loving you. And then they're like, wait, that thing we loved, and then the people who love it stop talking about it, and the people who hate it get louder, and it's this yin and yang back and forth. But we haven't. I can see what you mean.
I mean, I can see what you mean. I did feel a lot of that pushback. Like, so for me, the way I see it is, there's a big bandwagon hate train that starts as soon as you have success, and I've felt that ever since the first major. No matter what, there are people who want to see you fail, and that is just the nature of things. And I'm quite okay with it, it's part of the game. But I did feel or read and kind of get the vibe that so many people, like the people who did enjoy it were also being very loud. They were actually sharing their gratefulness or like their appreciation as well for the game and for, I don't know, I felt very hyped casting these games. Like I could have done this probably 10 days straight, no problem. But I also see what you mean, that if you keep doing it and the people that do enjoy, or if you are doing a good job, the same people are not going to keep praising or keep giving you that positive feedback. And the ones who are angry or were angry, they're even more angry now because, you know, they always want to. So
This guy won't
that
go
just want
away.
to see you fail. Yeah,
He's still on my screen.
And then now they also feel like they get louder, so they want to get even louder, you know. But yeah, of course. I also think the bias thing. I mean, for me, it was I was a bit taken back that was literally a response, because I'm going there to cast my own team, so I don't know what to. I didn't know that there was another expectation for me to stay unbiased when casting OG. For me, that's even more foreign. That would be absolutely crazy to me. So the fact that people pointed it out actually caught me off surprise. Like,
bro, you don't even know. European fans, not okay. No, cut that. I'll leave it in. I guess I'm not flaming Europe, but I'm just saying there's a few teams. It doesn't matter how well you do. OG, Nigma, Secret, and another team. You can't cast them without being called biased in some way. You're either biased for them, you're biased against them. And unless you're somebody like Bias J, then ultimately, like, you can't make it better. There's nothing you can do. And for the record, I liked it. I think that's something. How would I put it? Whether or not people like what you were doing, it's a very unique product, and it's the first time in Dota. It's a very long game. We've been around for a long time, but when I think about it, it's, you know, what if what if Michael Jordan, right, was casting the Bulls in the playoffs? That'd be pretty dope. It'd be a cool product. And obviously No-Tail is not as successful or bald as MJ, but he's the closest thing we have.
He owns
if he's casting the Bulls, like, that's cool. It's a cool thing to have happen. So whether or not you enjoy it, it's very unique. And that's, I think, part of the charm, where if it was something that was done for an entire DPC, it wouldn't be as fun. But that also, I think, is part of what makes LANs special, is that the LAN is a complete story. It's my biggest problem with the DPC, and part of why I'm glad I'm not working it. What's the storyline? Like, I feel for my friends. I'm friends with a lot of the talent. What's the story? Hey, guys, like, Liquid and Secret played today in the first match. OG and Nigma played. We won't see them again for 6 weeks. Find out what happens next week when the league continues. And you have a match usually on the last day. If that match doesn't change who's winning, you're going to play this match, and then completely unrelated to that, you're going to be like, hey, by the way, this other team won.
Before moving to the DPC, I want to talk more about the Johan casting, because Mav, I want you to play a few clips. The clip that he had of, there was a clip, Johan, that I was dying laughing. I died laughing. I had to stop.
Let's
go! Let's go! Well, the one is like, where is he going? Nowhere!
Leaping away, but Puppy doesn't have that mobility.
And then the other one where it's like, okay, OG pick up a fight. And it's like, well, they're picking up a fight. I mean, we are picking up a fight. Fuck it, it's my team. So we are picking up a fight, you know?
Yeah, I had the wrong read on that fight. And then, luckily for OG, they had the, which is also me. we had the right read.
Yeah, I can see how you made the comment. Somewhere in your brain told you, hey, dude, stop being biased. And in the middle of a fight, you got so excited, like, fuck it, it's my team. Let's go, you know?
it felt unnatural. It felt unnatural as hell to not say it. But I would also point out that for me, this is how it also sounds like in our bootcamp room back in the day when we were watching any other two teams play, and somebody is hyped for one team, and I just want to be hyped for the other team because screw Thompson or screw this guy, you know, or that we had an idea about some heroes winning and we have a disagreement, like which draft is better. This is also how I would be literally interacting in the game, you know? I'd be butt clenching moments all the time, and it would also switch sides, it would also switch teams. And it's also part of, I think, a lot of the cool casting that gets done by OD Pixel or even a lot of the C casters. I think when you go to Manila Major, or if you look back at Manila Major, the hype there was for just plays, for either side, for good Dota plays, for cool stuff, cool shit that goes on. I have that every time I watch, you know, any semi-interesting Dota game. And I think people also interpret it the way they kind of want to. And every time I would do it for OG, it's super biased. Or every time I would, whereas then if I did it for other team in an OG game, they didn't really They could put anything that they wanted to. Maybe he's just doing it to not be biased, maybe blah, blah, blah. Sure, of course, I was more biased towards OG in the OG games, but I do think I applied the exact same thing that I had watching any other Dota game, even with my team. But yeah, it was a lot of fun to actually be there. Also, having Cap and Lyrical next to you, it also makes it more hype. I don't know. That's the first time I've had that type of experience. And it was really nice. It was really nice. They're pros. They're really good at what they do, and made me feel even more excited about the game.
Yeah, I think the two of them, and to be fair, like I think a lot of the Dota talent are just incredible at what they do. But Shiver and Cap, to me, have always been incredibly not underrated because they're just like they do great work, but they're very good at facilitating other people and making them look better. At Cap especially, like I was a tier 1 caster because I was working with Cap. It was great. I still can't believe that was a career for a while. And it's interesting. And as you like work more, there was the finals cast was really cool, right? I was very happy that happened. You had 4 Aegises, 3 casters. And what was really interesting is that if you actually like go back and listen to everything, I can follow No-Tail's progress from game 2 to game 3 because it was Kuro, No-Tail, and Sumail. And game 2 wasn't as good as game 3 because Johan didn't like recognize his role as the facilitator. It kind of kicks in like 15, 20 minutes in when No-Tail stops thinking like an analyst and starts thinking like, how do I present this in the right way, if that makes sense. And then when you change that as well for game 4 and 5 and you put like a professional like Cap in and he allows this like back and forth between Crow and No-Tail, you can kind of feel like literally what broadcast experience, like what a professional adds to the group. Because obviously Sumail probably knows a bit more about Dota than Cap does, but Cap has like 10,000 hours on camera. That might be a little excessive. Let's say 5,000. And you can literally feel the progress as the broadcast goes on. That's what's really interesting about doing talent work is like when you start, in this case, Johan, he's just a pro, right? He just kind of can show up and talk about Dota. People love that because all we want to hear about as fans is about Dota. But as time goes on, you recognize you're just part of a product, right? Every panel is a product. It's not about being right or having accurate predictions. In some cases, the best analysts are often wrong, but it's about how that information is presented.
I think you're just trying to save your ass right now. Actually, being wrong is what makes you a great analyst. If you really think about it, Kyle, being wrong makes you a great analyst. The more wrong you are, the best analyst you are.
Oh, I think it's a very good point. I think it's a very good point, though. Like you can also curveball it, like literally say something wrong, knowing that what you're saying is wrong, just to spark the conversation or to spark, And it is about same thing as in any other team aspect, human interaction, human group work. It is about enabling, right? And if you have a host like Shiver throwing the ball around the right way, and if you have a caster throwing the right questions at the right time, or on purpose the wrong question or whatever, it's an art in itself to make someone else look good and to make. So it's entertainment at the end of the day, what we all do, right? And for the competitors, they focus on the competition. They focus on playing good. They focus just on the game. And for the rest, they work around this game, around this competition, and they make it as entertaining as possible. Draw in the competitive aspect, draw in the Dota aspect, which is what most of us are here for, and draw in, whatever, like layer the cake with funny jokes, flashy stuff, or just good banter, good dynamics, good information processing, because you don't want it to be too analytical. That otherwise,
we've seen that before.
Yeah,
and the people think they want it. They want just like 3 pros talking monotone like this. I'm a big fan of this draft, but they don't actually want that. Nobody wants that. It's not It's not dynamic. You're not capturing people's attention, and ultimately, you always need a balance.
Yeah, I think there's a fine balance.
Go ahead. Sorry, the lag.
Yeah, no, a bit of delay. No, there's definitely a lot you can do. I think you can have a more analytical approach and analytical segments. Like I still like the Weatherman approach, where you kind of break this game down like you would see in chess tournaments or when you watch chess games and they break them down. But even those the most analytical, strategical game, they do have that hype and dynamic go into the live games, especially in Blitz, and that is why people watch this stuff. Why the competition is born in the first place. And sometimes, people do forget that it's all an entertainment product. But yeah, it's an art in itself.
And that's it's an interesting, because different studios and production companies have different philosophies. I've always loved WePlay because they focus on trying to build a cool show, not just like presenting the games. I think they present the games very well, but there's also this aspect of we're going to make stuff happen in between to keep people there and to like reward them for viewing effectively. Sorry. Like the shows they made in between the lower bracket and grand finals of both Omega League and Any Major, like a lot of heart and soul went into that. And I think it adds to what people take away from that event. And in this case, like good panels, it's like good parties. It's why the bungalow is such a great place, because it's got a lot of different themes, different rooms with different vibes. Like you have this natural separation. That's theoretically what you want, because in between games, let's say there's always so many goddamn. The only reason games are delayed, it's never our fault. The players are just smoking for like 25 minutes. Like they just go outside, they disappear, they get lunch, and it's like, we need you to play a match. Like, hang on, 2 minutes, and then Curl, he's gone. You want to have not just 30 minutes of 3 people talking to each other. You'd prefer to have like content. You throw to a weatherman. The whole idea is like there's variety. You have different people involved. You cut to some content or an interview. There's a lot of other stuff probably would have done at GamersGalaxy if there was more time or just more people. Like there were people in the crowd oftentimes watching. I thought it would have been really cool to have like some sort of interview. Like I tried to get Miracle, or well, I guess Mizu on camera a few times, but he didn't want to. But I would have gotten him if we had some other place. Like, what if you bring people on stage? I wanted to film content during the team intros, because they would do a team intro, one team would walk on, and then you'd introduce the next team, and there'd be a video playing. I really wanted to go film an interview during that segment with the people on stage, but it didn't work out. I don't know why I brought that up. What were we talking about?
No,
I don't know. I don't know why a lot of things are happening.
I caught the track, or I know where your train of thought was. I'm surprised you don't, because we're talking about like level of entertainment and what we do, and what you did mention, I think is. So I think I'm always going to be on the competitive side of things. Like I think this is why, especially Dota, out of all the games, is what it is because of the level of competition, the skill ceiling, the depth, the strategy that is here. And I want to protect that more than anything. I am much in favor for giving teams 20-minute in between maps and even longer in between games, never having 2 important series like we always see at TI for the final day, loser bracket into winner bracket. I think it takes greatly away from the competitive integrity of the game. Greatly. I would, that's a hill I'm willing to fight on and die on, because for Dota, I'll give you the word one moment. I'll just finish up. There's an experience that we had at ESL once. It was Birmingham, and we were supposed to start in 5 minutes. And we had the time, and we always, we do manage our time, and we also try to play within the rules that is given to us. And some dude was rushing us from the media. He was some new guy. I don't think he'd done esports before. And he's telling us, the players and the coach, didn't talk to anyone, didn't talk to the player admin. He's like, come on, guys, we have a show to run. And everybody just starts laughing in his face because, bro, you're talking to the wrong crowd. Like, this is not a show for people. This is not a show for us. It really isn't. And it shouldn't be. I don't think it should be. The competitors, of course, and when you're out of the tournament and you zoom out and you have these talks, everybody should realize that we are a product of entertainment and we should cherish that and value that. But those guys, the players, are there to perform. They're there to play good Dota, and that is the main product that, then the tournament organizer and the production have to work around. I think what you mentioned with like doing things in between game, using the crowd, using the stage, this is all fantastic because it doesn't take away from the players. And to really protect and cherish that competitive integrity, make these games as competitive as possible. In chess, they play one game over one day, and they have like a 12-day finals or whatever, like over several days, not 12, but you know what I mean. Like they have ample time to make sure that these games, there's no excuse, because there's always an excuse for TI grand final. If the winner bracket team wins, there's always an easy excuse. It's like they did not have to play 8 games, or up to 8 games.
Yeah.
And they had so I know it's tricky, but go on, Kyle. I want to hear what you have to say, because I think still competitive integrity.
3 points to unpack. One, totally agree. The games are the product at the end of the day. The job of the company is to build a show around the game without impacting your ability to play to the best that you can. 100% agree. And I think that that's a priority. And ultimately, that's also part of why I think players were more willing to do content in this tournament, because I think it ran very smoothly. Like when I came to talk to them, they were just waiting. They were like watching the match before they would play. Okay, fuck, Kyle's here. All right, we'll talk to him for like 10 minutes, and then he leaves, and that's the end. Easy, painless. And players, typically, everyone says players hate doing content. This is true, but I think it's also because people do it in a way that's more intrusive, to your point, or they just, I don't know, man. I'm not going to ask people about the patch. I think I did ask people about the patch, but that was just because I wasn't prepared. That's a whole other topic. What was it? What was the other thing? There were 2 other things. You had said, I lost it.
So competitive integrity, entertainment value, still understanding that, recognizing that is entertainment, and then making the game fair, not having excuses.
It's the scheduling, bro. It's not possible unless you can somehow just pay for like a lot more arena days. I think what Counter-Strike does makes a lot of sense. The finals is on its own day, but it's always single elimination. And I strongly feel like Dota is a double elimination game, because like so many times you will have teams with just a distinct advantage over, like, I don't think you want single elim in Dota. It just doesn't work. And the problem is that you can't do the last like 3 days of the tournament without having teams playing 2 matches. Because if you think about it, you have everyone always forgets the first loser final, because you have a loser final for like the loser's 4th place, and then you have a team from the winner bracket come down to play the actual loser final, and then you have the grand finals. So it's not possible unless you have like 3 days to play these 4 matches, not to have some kind of overlap, and that's your trouble.
Let me just, I'm trying to work around my head. Wouldn't there be a way? So again, I'm much against having 2 important matches in a day, but I would much rather have winner bracket final and the loser bracket final on the same day. Wouldn't there be a way to play the loser bracket semifinal like the day before? Have the one finalist for the loser bracket final. You go into the last day, the winner bracket final plays first, then you have a long pause, and then you go into the loser bracket final. Like you have a pause of 2-3 hours.
You can make an argument that it's intended for there to be a winner bracket advantage at TI and in grand finals, because you don't get the game up, right? You only get
you get 3 choices.
Previous series. But the thing you have here is you're punishing the winner bracket team. You're punishing a team that is top 3 from winner bracket, and they have to go down and play another match against a team watching their series that's fresh and ready. And I don't think that you can do that.
No, I see your point too. So the only way to fix this would be to add an additional day, or to not have double elim. And nobody wants to have not double elim. So yeah, the only sensible solution would be to separate the loser bracket final, have it on its own day, and have the winner bracket final on its own day.
But
or at the very least, I would say at the very least, make a much longer break in between the last 2 games, because so far the TI8 and TI9 were not good for the loser bracket team.
The thing is, people say that you want that.
I know. One second. So, Johan, you said that when you win a winner bracket, you have 3 advantages or 3 possibilities. What are they?
First game, third game, and 5th game, you're always going to have choice, and the other team will get only choice in the other 2. So you're strategically, I would say that's still pretty big advantage. And I would not like, overall, for the sake of the game, I would not like to jeopardize the quality of that grand finals by having the loser bracket go straight into it, plus having the winner bracket also get to watch them. But it's more the non-pause, I think, is too intense. 8 games of the highest level of Dota is too much.
Oh, that's what I was. So real quick, Jay, I played 11 one year. And this is the craziest irony about
he's
the
talking
DPC
about
circuit.
he's talking about high level, not what you're playing. So
Whoa!
I can play 11 Dota games
Jay
a
the
day,
Savage.
but it's not the same thing that he's playing. We're talking a high
I was
level.
playing
Dota.
the fucking TI qualifiers, and that's what's so nuts about this whole system. Is the DPC
TI
is
qualifiers,
like, hey
TI
guys,
finals.
we're gonna
Are
play.
you really gonna do this?
It's true though, no, but I
finals,
was talking about
TI
this in
qualifier.
Dubai as well.
Yeah, you have a
Go ahead,
DPC system where you have 7 matches in 6 fucking weeks, right? But all of competitive Dota has always been about the sprint, right? The qualifiers are like 3 days per region. And I played one year, I played loser bracket because we'd lost. We'd lost to, I think it was DC in the upper. This was TI6. I'm still salty about this because we lost the wild card too. But we lost a tiebreaker to EG to make it to TI straight up because like the first team in group made it through.
Mm-hmm.
They went on to finish third, and then we played DC. We lost them in the upper bracket. So we lost them 2-1. Then we went down and we won 2-1, and then we had to play the grand finals. So it was 11 matches. It might have been 10, but I think I'm going to go with 11 for dramatic effect. DC went on to finish second. So we lost to second and third place, then go to lose the wild card. It doesn't matter. But Limp also didn't have his visa. His passport got lost in the mail. So he was playing from Sweden. But we were basically playing Dota. He was playing until like 11 a.m. We were playing until 2 or 3 a.m. It was 5 games. We played 11 games of Dota for our lives, effectively. And it's just so weird when you juxtapose that with what we currently have. Like a month and a half of Dota compared to when it counts, because it's the same at TI, one big ass group stage, a ton of fucking Dota, and to Johan's point, like if you're loser bracket, you're gonna play multiple matches on the same day, multiple times, and it's just what we accept. So how does the DPC train you for when it counts? Majors, TIs, even lands. It doesn't.
It doesn't anymore.
It's weird.
Doesn't anymore.
It's super
really weird.
I do want to keep it on the tournament still before we go in. I know you guys are dragging me to DPCs, and we're gonna get to DPCs. But you said something, Kyle. You said everybody wants the pause, but they actually do not want the pause. You were saying something that between the who doesn't want the pause? The audience, the players.
The players. Johan has his own thoughts, desires, needs, right? Different players have different ideas. There are some teams that like having a break in between their series. There's some teams that are just like, please just give us the ones at the end altogether. They don't want a break. There's some teams that would want to play immediately after the lower bracket would end. There's some teams that would want 3 hours.
You will not find someone who's been in
things.
TI loser bracket. You will not find someone who's been there in TI loser bracket having to win that and go straight into the Bay of 5 who's like, go game now. I don't think you will find you won't find those guys who are at least going to be reasonable about it.
I'll give you that. That is an unfair card that you get to play, and there's no counterattack from my side.
But I do agree. So I do agree that there's a sentiment, and especially during group stages, to not have a break in between the games. And we're in that boat too. If we have 2 best of 3s, we'd rather get them close to each other rather than morning and evening games. There's more than one reason for that. You don't want people to study. You don't want the meta to develop. You feel that you're ahead of it. Like, let's just get it over with, before people get to watch us. And the other one is, fatigue and energy level and being hyped and being pumped. And So it's not as simple as pie, but those LAN games, you go to the venue, you're having a hard time sleeping at night because it's the game of your life. And it's like, you win that best of 3 is one of the most intense moments of your day, like one of the most intense moments of your life, excuse me. And then your body kind of wants to go down, but then it's BO5 Grand Final TI,
Wait a second. You were never in a lower bracket of TI, though.
He was?
No, not for TI. No. TI, we were winning bracket.
You were never in a lower bracket final TI.
So, you lost to PSG on the
we didn't. We
didn't,
Jay. We fucked them in the upper bracket, dude.
That was the fucking Earthshaker game.
So you won both of them through upper bracket? Both of the
Yes.
He's
talking about
yes.
experience. I have way more experience as a fucking loser than this idiot. This is bullshit.
Well, Frankfurt Major, for example, that's when we had to do it. But we had a long break. We had a nice longer break, so it helped. We were very close to that as well. So I would say we had a more lenient way, at least dealing with that grand final. But we were also a very new team and a very we were a team that were playing more on hype. And once you get better at Dota, once you get better at the game, you need time to think. You want time to think. You want time to strategize. You want time as a group to kind of like get on the same page and stuff. And yeah, so a worse team would enjoy this more than a better team would. I'm sure of that. 100% sure of that. That's how it works.
Maybe that makes sense then. Why we have differences in philosophy.
Well, it's strategy. The more time you get, the more imbalanced it is. And especially like watching, learning, observing, it's going to give you so much more. But hey, just back to the main point. Like, I do want the highest quality of games. And Valve even talked about this and mentioned it at one TI. I think it was TI 7 or 8, where Eric Johnson tells us about, they do want to have like the highest quality games as possible. And if there's any feedback, and I think every team gave the feedback, like, let's have more than 10 minutes in between each map. Can you give us 15 or 20? That's way more humane, because 10 minutes is barely a bathroom break. People smoke, people like want to get some air. Where's the time to strategize? And I don't want 30 minutes to strategize in between maps. I just want 10, if I can get it. And that means a 20-minute break.
And I hope they've changed it. But I remember there was this scenario, it was actually against you guys. When you were playing at some summit, Tal was still on the team. I consider it a disadvantage to win the coin toss, the first coin toss.
Defer the coin toss.
You fuckers deferred. I don't know why Blaze let him defer the defer. I won the coin toss, right, for decision of picker side in the first map, and I deferred that. I wanted it in game 2. And these guys, they deferred it back to me, and he said that I had to live with it, which is BS. I won the toss. I chose to defer. You can't defer the defer, Blaze. It's not how it works. But the reason for that is that you don't have to choose what you want for game 2 until it's literally like 10 seconds before the game starts. So whatever happens in game 1, I go into game 2 knowing, all right, guys, I'm picking first pick. What are we going to ban? What do we want to say? Okay, cool. The other team doesn't know yet. They don't know if I'm going to pick Radiant or if I'm going to choose pick priority. And I think that's bullshit, because you already have a limited window, to Johan's point, and I know what I'm going to do, and you have to game plan for 2 different scenarios. You don't know if you're first pick or second pick until it's literally draft start, which is dumb as fuck.
Deferring would be imbalanced. Deferring would be imbalanced, bro. Like, you coin toss so that you have to choose as well. Winning the coin toss,
I want to lose.
Yeah, sure, but then pick the other one. Stop picking heads, pick tails. I don't know. Like, you didn't lose the coin toss on purpose.
It shouldn't be a disadvantage to lose the coin toss.
So, but Dubai, Johan, did you enjoy it enough to do it again? Would you like to do this again? This is something that you enjoyed for your life?
I mean, casting for sure. Dubai as well. Dubai, like, I had enough of it after, I would say, 10 days. It's not my cup of tea, but it's such a crazy and insightful experience that I would want to go back. But yeah, casting for sure. I'm hoping to cast a major. I'm hoping to cast the next major too. And honestly, I hope to cast TI as well. Let's see if there's other things I hope to do more when time comes. But I had so much fun doing it. Like, yeah, watching Dota. I mean, I did it ever since. I've done it for 10 years. So just watching it on stage and watching it with like the atmosphere and a co-caster, it made me happy. It made me very happy.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I think Cap is looking for a co-caster, right?
What's
just
that?
Saying,
that is, yeah.
There. Cap is looking for a co-caster.
True.
Just saying.
Oh, I mean,
I'm back on the shelf.
No, I mean, I would say he's one of the most amazing professionals, and I could tell he had to strive to get better and a strive for our cast to become a good product, and that's also something I hadn't seen before. On the other side, like how much care and passion goes into it, because I would say that's one of the things that has never really been shone enough light on. Is it's always the players. It's always they care about the game. They want this and that for the game. But honestly, the talent in the back room and like the questions, the info that they try to gather and the things they want, like they prepare themselves to talk about, it is for the viewer. It's for a good experience. And that took me back a bit. And Cap was like steadily trying to improve. I mean, rapidly trying to improve game to game. And what kind of question should I ask you? This and that. Like, did you like this? And I didn't even know how to answer to it because I thought I was the noob, and he was the pro. So that put me in an awkward spot. I'm like, bro, I hope you know what you're doing. 'Cause I don't.
Well, that's what makes it fun. Because the way I would work on even a panel, like it's about like energy levels, different dynamics, and aspects of personality. I would work with you differently than I would work with, say, like Fogged, because you have different ways you present information. So it's to be a pro, you got to talk to the person that you're working with and see, like, how do we make this work? How do we create like the most interesting and captivating, I hate using the word product, but it's the only thing that makes sense. Like, we want this experience, as a commentator, you're really just trying to be a conduit for the feeling and the emotions and the pace of the game. And that's what you'll watch. If you watch Cap and Owen, they do it super well. Like, if the game calls for it, and this is also why Dota is not something like you can just get some other good commentator and bring them in, because you have to feel the game. Even players discuss how they don't really know what the fuck is going on. They just feel it. They feel strong, right? So in certain times, there's nothing happening. So the pace of the game is like this, and you're just chilling. And then when it's starting to get hype, you can feel the tenseness. But if it was just like, oh my God, this is so hype, this is so incredible, it's so tense, and it was from minute 0 to minute 47, it's not the same at all. It loses the power. It's like you can see this in movies as well. Who is it? Scorsese, like using silence. You get an understanding of how important the volume level is and the pacing is to telling a good story and maintaining a captivating narrative. And Cap is a fucking pro. That's the main point. Cap is like I worked with him, first casted together in 2009. GameReplays.org. And I think it was Reason Gaming versus OK, if you remember. That's way back in the day. That was the first ever broadcast that I did.
That team OK, I remember it. Yeah.
Online Kingdom, that's who they were.
That's the one. Yeah.
Kebab and Co.
Kebab, man. That's a name I haven't heard in a while. It comes up every year or 2 years. Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm.
And Johan, do you like to stay more on the casting analyst, or you like also the desk because you were doing both of those sides? How different it is for you, and how did you experience both?
I mean, the panel is sometimes talking some crazy shit. I know if I put myself in the middle of that panel, I feel like I'm being too rude. So I would rather be far away on the casting desk so I can tell the viewers about all the shit that they're saying, and then kind of have my distance. No, just kidding, kind of. But definitely casting is more fun. Casting is my jam, like, as in, because I get to watch the game, and I could go on and on and on and on. Like, the only time that game gets boring for me, or the only time I feel like not talking as much or it gets a bit forced, is when the game is quite obviously over and it keeps going. And then, that's when I want to talk about other things, but that's when I shouldn't either. I think it would take away from the product. There's comebacks are possible, and also, like, finishing games is a thing, and being in Dota games that are won is checkmate. It's, you see it through till the end, but I've watched over, I don't even know how many tens of thousands of games that, once you see those games, you kind of just want to move on.
Yeah. That's what makes it good, though. That's why I think you have to know Dota to cast Dota, because there are some games that look out of hand, right? It's like 24-3, but this team is still one fight away from an even game. This Roshan is very important.
Drafts that work like that, and yeah, for sure. And those games are still very exciting. There are some games where it's blatantly obvious, and there are some games where a lot of people will tend to shrug it off too early, where they actually don't understand that this game is still close because they look at net worth or they look at something else. I know my mom and dad used to look at kill score when they first started watching, and Dota. That's why this is way better game than other MOBAs. It's like, these are all just indicators of much deeper things happening.
I remember Seb flaming me about this, which was a bit like funny because, like, I know this, like, I play Dota and I get this, but about how casters will sometimes try to tell the story as if net worth is the story, and that's not the case because Dota doesn't work like that. Sometimes you're 8K behind, but you hit a timing. I think it was a game like Game 4 TI9 Finals is a perfect example where Enigma is going high ground, Liquid at the time, and like there's this fucking defusal. I think it was the game before. Maybe it was that game. Ana hits 15,
no, that's the
and
game.
It's like, oh shit,
that's the
level
game. 15
in Aghanims. Woohoo! Yeah, like, and everything changes, and you don't know this if you don't know the game, because that's not a story that is told by what you're usually seeing. It's also why analyst casters, you need to have a PC, because we had talked about this as well. If you don't have a computer, sometimes tournaments only have program, which I don't accept, because if you only tell the story that you see through the observer's camera, then you're only telling the story that people already see. You need your own computer so that you can actually fuck around in the game and find these interesting things that are going to happen, so that you're telling the actual story of the game. You should be leading the camera, not vice versa.
I saw it from you because you were constantly asking the camera, hey, go here. Hey, go here. I want to see this. You were guiding the camera because you wanted to see it.
Yeah. So obviously, I mean,
which I think
also,
works, by the way.
It works like that too. I think it's cool because it also is verbalizing things for the viewer to then start thinking about. If I were to just put the camera, they might not think twice of it, but there's a reason why you might want to click this here or look at this, because this is what's hype and this is what's important. Whereas if I'm just running over with a mouse, they're like, oh, of course he's clicking hoodwink, he's about to hit 20, of course. No. I mean, it's a huge deal, like this is what's worth thinking about right now. But I did miss having like that set up. I think if you have an analyst in a cast, Dota is this type of game where only AI sees beyond the borders, right? And when we're trying to spectate to catch the story of the 10 people, how they're viewing the game, you need, say, at least like 3 dudes looking at it, trying to catch, all those moments. And then quite often they'll catch the same ones and miss some others. Because so much goes on, and you can go on and on and on about what's going on in their head and what they're looking at and what they're playing for and why they're building these items. A computer or a program that also catches moments off screen and you can go back and talk to it. But I felt like with this patch and with what's going on, that I could talk nonstop until the game was kind of out of hand for one team. Like there was enough for me to talk about item choices, about heroes, about why they pick stuff, about what's important in these lanes, what's important at this minute mark, what's important, catapult spawning, towers going down, Roshan's going to be the next thing. Like my words cannot keep up, basically.
Yeah. I've always told people casting is easy. You just have to play the game for about 10,000 hours and work as a pro or play as a pro for like 8 years. After that, it's a breeze.
It's easy, yeah.
Yeah, it's easy.
So I wanted to bring something up. In the NFL, we have a quarterback called Tony Romo, who was the quarterback for a team for a very long time. And then he moved into casting. And he became very famous also as a caster because he is extremely insightful. I know, Kyle, you and I have talked about that. And he knows so much about the game that he's actually making calls about the calls that the quarterback is going to make on game. And he has like these series where he gets like 9 plays in a row. It's like, look at this. He's going to throw it here. Look at here and all that. And I think that one of the things that Johan brought was that. We talked about this, Kyle, the other day. He was intuitive.
Tony Romo.
Intuition,
Tony Romo never won a Super Bowl. He doesn't get to be Tony Romo too.
But you have to play. My point, oh my God, it's so hard to have a conversation with you without making it about you. The point that I was trying to make, Kyle, is that Johan intuitively knew how to guide the camera and what he was looking for without having the training of a caster. And I think that Cap did a fantastic job by enabling those narratives, by allowing it to make a little bit more like the no-tail show at times. So the point that I was trying to make is that Johan was able to do it very intuitively. And that was really cool. And I enjoyed that because you were like, hey, go here because I want to see how far he is from the BKB. Because by the time he gets the BKB, this thing is going to completely turn around. And we were also talking yesterday, Johan, Kyle and I went for dinner. And I think that one of the reasons why I love Dota so much is that I still watch screams from our guys. And I think that the game is going one way. And it's not at all. And even though I played this game for so long, and even you, I remember this is the moment that I like from the broadcast. You were saying, let's not pick up this fight. Let's not pick up this fight. This is not a fight that we can pick. Then we pick it. We won the fight. And you were like, fuck it. I guess they saw something that I didn't see, It was an awesome moment from the podcast.
Yep. That's Dota in a nutshell. It's about having 5 guys in one vision. Oftentimes, the vision doesn't matter. You could probably win the game both ways, but you need everybody to buy in on the one way you're going to win it, because if they're split, you're screwed. That was the complexity gaming way.
That's why you could beat some of the best teams as well. I mean, 5 fingers make the hand, and not a lot of people understand this concept, even though they say they do, even though they say they want to do. They're that one finger that just doesn't want to make a fist when the rest are making a fist, because they don't agree or ego takes over.
That was the complexity gaming way. Clarify.
Okay, that one. But you guys had the potential, like when you. Yeah. No, but I think a lot of you see a lot of this talent in teams sporadically. Like they make a fist and they punch hard and they take games from some of the best teams, and they actually didn't realize, that they made a fist, or they didn't realize that 5 guys were like on top of one play. They just thought, oh shit, I knew what I'm doing and everybody followed me. But then you have 5 guys thinking that same thing, like, oh, I know what I'm doing, they followed me. And then the next time that it comes to it and they have to bow down and go with a plan that even though they don't see or agree with, that's when they don't do it. And that's when it's like, oh, they start blaming everything around them, all the people. And and that's where team games are a lot more fun than single player games, but they're also a lot more toxic. I mean, they just are in that sense. Like, even though you're a jolly guy and you're happy as can be, you surround yourself with this, and this is like where you can burn yourself, and this is a risk you take, for your own mental well-being and everything. But it's what makes it great, and it's what makes it horrible.
Yeah, that's the hardest thing. Like, I remember, like, there's some games, it's so much easier to make a fist with certain types of lineups, to use your analogy, like drow lineups, right? Always could take games off better teams with drow. Same with, bullshit like Oracle Alchemist. Like, effectively, the way OG won all of their majors was just these dumb-ass OP fist strategies where they would literally just pick heals. Oh, follow the illusion hero. Oh, it's an alchemist. Look at us go. And they got all these millions of dollars.
Let me ask you, Kyle. Why on earth did people not play Naga? So we were so bad at SD Luna. We lost like 25 scrims in a row. And then we just kept practicing. Then we became good. Then we became better than the rest. But why could people not pull off an alchemist themselves? Why could they not pull off a Naga themselves? Why could they not pull off a Luna themselves? I don't like. For me, that is just. Whenever people say that, it's a pathetic excuse. We didn't invent it. We're like, this is broken. I want to win money. I want to be the best Dota team in the world. I'm going to use what's broken. And we just did. And Arteezy didn't dare to pick Naga. I don't understand. Or his team or whatever. They lose 1 game, 2 games. They run some bullshit strategies. They don't know what they're doing. For me, this is like an excuse because people were worse. They're dumb. They didn't know how to pull it off, and you might say that it's easy. Five fingers make a fist with these strats. If it was so easy, we would have seen so much more Naga. No other team dared to run Naga except Newbie. And then they kick KV.
It's hard. I'll give you that because it's one of the harder elements. Like drow lineups, Lone Druid, Beastmaster, right? Those are the complexity game. That's the bread and butter right there. It's very self-explanatory, okay? Naga Siren, the trouble with Arteezy specifically, you can use this in the thumbnail. We'll get some clicks. Also, I'm not going to do that. They never, when you run a good Naga strategy, you're supposed to like choke the game, right? And then you win the game. Their strategy was to like gently farm the entire map, right? There's never that feeling. There's never that moment where you like make the play, where you go make a move to win the game. The Naga's just farming. He's on his 7th item. And it's like, for fuck's sake, guys, like, when are you going to take a fight? But they're not playing to win the game. They're playing for next item. It's always how I felt.
So they're not playing a strategy. That's not a strategy to me.
Yeah.
That's like,
it's just
they're
a carry.
just... Right. But yeah, I still think people back then, I mean, now we go back a bit, but like 2016 to 2010 or like, no, to 2019, I feel there were a lot of teams that were running on very bad concepts like that. Dota is also a confusing game, so it gets you messed up and you don't actually understand what your strategy you picked, what you're supposed to do with it, and how you're supposed to finish the game and all this. But I would say people got smarter now, but back then, a lot of teams were just, they were not able to keep up. They were not good. They were also not good teams. Like, they were not good teammates, I think. You had all these internal issues that you could kind of see come out in games. And I like to think that OG kind of showed something that Wings had for their TI run. Was like they had unity. They were a complete team with complete trust, and that gets you much further than anything.
You guys had your internal issues outside of the games, like in between tournaments. So it was definitely an advantage.
Yeah. And even for us, like we lost the ball. We dropped the ball many times. It's not to say that we were always playing strats and always like punching together and doing stuff together. We had several moments. I mean, if you look in between the seasons too, we had many moments of confusion, and that's the nature of the game as well. It's not an easy game to have a go at, because even though you get really good and you get really smart, you have 4 guys that can enable that, empower you, or they can screw with your head like no tomorrow, and vice versa.
The complexity gaming way.
I mean, I saw a lot of that in you guys, like both the good and the bad. Yeah. You can see it from outside.
It's such a tragedy because when we were good, we were great. There were some matches. We were the last team, by the way, last captain to beat Wings at a Valve event right here.
I mean, it is something you should.
That's the end of the resume.
Yeah. Were you the ones who knocked them down? Because they got knocked down, right? Or no, DC got knocked down.
Yeah. No, we beat them in Manila Major. And then we lost to
last
Liquid.
place.
I'm still salty. We got such bad luck. It's part of why I hate GSL, because we were constantly getting put in groups with teams that would finish top 3. So we would lose to 2 top 3 teams in group stage and then get knocked out by another top 3 team, like the loser bracket. But yeah, we beat Wings. And guess what we used?
That's a top 4 mentality
Druid,
for
Death
you, bro.
Prophet. Lone Druid, Death Prophet. Let's go. Guess what we did? We pushed. It was awesome.
Those strats are good.
That's it.
I think they're back as well. But yeah, I would still say to what you just said, that's a top 4 mentality, bro. That's not a top 3 mentality, because you had the chance to learn from those guys in your group as well. I think the GSL format is not always fair, like as to your point. But at the same time, I do think so. There's not a coincidence that the guys who are in the same group quite often also end up in the top together, because that group stage is your jumping board as well into the playoffs. And if you're like Frankfurt Major is my example, where we lost to Vega twice, and we lost to Vega, beat somebody, and then we lost to Vega again. So we were lower bracket right from the beginning. But our whole meta got shaped by that group stage, by those 3 series. We changed our whole hero value and how we decided to go into the playoffs together, and how we're going to play together as a team, and like which roles we're going to fill. And I think we wouldn't have won if it wasn't for that group stage. So you can also take that negative and turn it into something positive. I mean, of course, if you get knocked out right away, tough luck. But the closer you are to the edge, the closer you are to finishing sometimes, or finishing number 1, Newbie, same example, TI4. They were so close, and they got their shit together. And I wonder if that was not the path they went, could they have won? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, guys, we're running out of time. Interesting subject. I don't know how this is going to cut together. I think we obviously have a lot more things to discuss. So I would say that if as closing thoughts, we will have to talk about another day about DPCs and all that. But closing thoughts is, Johan, it made me very happy seeing you happy. I think I seen your growth since after TI in the personal moment. But I think that some of that energy and that hype that I knew from No Tail, outside of Johan, came out, during the casting. And I think you missed it, we all missed it, and the audience missed it as well. And that was super fun. Kyle's once again trying to sabotage anything that I said. Kyle, anything that you would like to add? Just mimicking and having these pomposous reactions every time I talk?
He's talking first about how when you get close to when you're on the edge, you're close to finishing. And now you're talking about watching him grow and how it's awesome to see what comes out of him. And I can't it's like you're doing this on purpose.
The whole world is sex, baby. That's what it is. You can't run away from it.
Every time.
You came out of a penis.
Every podcast.
I came out of a penis.
I'm telling you.
Jay, you also came out of a penis.
Yeah. I was
and with that said, make sure you guys wear protection. If my parents are watching this, they'll know what I'm talking about, because they didn't, and now I'm here. So thanks, Mom and Dad, but don't make their mistake. You don't want your own Kyle.
I want to thank Kyle's mom and dad as well for making Kyle.
Yeah, another thing that will not go to the podcast. So I'm gonna go back to this. So it was fun, Johan, and my God, Kyle, I am literally gonna make you review this.
I'm sorry.
Because
I'm
if
sorry.
you literally took all my work. You never gave me any moment. You never tossed a single question to warn me throughout the whole podcast. Zero.
You're the host. I'm the guest.
What the fuck am I host today? You are the hijacking guest.
I'm sorry. That does happen.
Anyway, so the point that I was trying to make, it was great seeing it and seeing the happiness that you're very passionate about Dota, and it was really great to see you in Dota. And then that you're telling me that you want to do this, I think that you're in a new journey, and it will be great to see what comes out of it, to see if you get the hate by saying we in the future events, or how do you deal with that. And Kyle, also from you, I know that you've been casting maybe less lately because of the things that you have going on in your life, but it was pretty cool also to see you there. It was really, really fun with your quirkiness and your sour and strange humor. I really enjoy how you put the whole event together and the tone and how you pair these guys to make it work. And it was really great. It was really, really good.
I want to see Kyle and Max round 2.
I hope you will. I hope you will see us more often. And I meant to make this comment, but the talent group at this event, I was really happy with. I think part of a good show is the green room energy. You need to have like good conversations off stage if you're going to then have them on stage. So we had that here. I thought everybody, all the pros, obviously, like again, Shiver just gets taken for granted, but working with her, you don't have to worry about anything. Like I just show up. I know that like she is a sus on what to say, on how things are going. She's in control of the vibe and the flow. And you just have to hang out and talk about Dota. So love her always. Everyone else, fantastic job. I thought Resolution was great, especially his first ever event in English. Johan as well. Jay, what was your favorite part of the show, like as a viewer?
I think for me, the favorite part of the show was that I don't think that professional means bottom up. I think professional allows a lot of fun and a lot of authenticity. And I think that Effie brought a lot of that. I think Johan brought a lot of that. Caps brought a lot of that. You could be professional and without having to look like you're in a courtroom. And that is the part that I enjoy the most, where you could see the love that these people have for the game just leaking out in the middle of conversations and how they're laughing with each other. Because I observed this product as I'm in my house, I'm dealing with my day. And in a way, I watch these because I want to watch high-level Dota, but I also want to be happy. I want my day to be brighter. And I saw myself turning the laptop in the morning, watching all the way through, finishing the day and thinking, I had a great fucking day. This was a fun day. Everybody brought the fun. It was really fun.
Lands are incredible. I missed lands a lot. Especially now, you know, you're reminiscing about Manila, dude. The sad thing, we did an ESL Manila and then the Manila Major, like back to back, and we just haven't been back. But those were such great events. Like lands in general are what Dota is. Like it's a totally different feeling. Totally different feeling. It was. I hope we get more of them.
Me too.
So Kyle, did you feel that everybody was so excited to be on a LAN that it was even special that way? Because everybody seemed to be having fun. Everyone in the cast, everyone, even the players, seemed to be enjoying what was happening. They were just excited to be there.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think there was obviously the backdrop of like what's happening in the world and the fact that this was kind of incredible to occur in the first place. Like it's really just because, you know, shout out Max once again. The guy is a lunatic in the best way possible. So he's doing the job of like 4 people and the whole team's wearing like 3 hats just to make the show possible. So it was a blessing that it occurred. And I think also just the way things were set up, you know, it wasn't a crazy comfortable. Oh, no, that's taken away. Like everyone the players had a practice room. We were at the Radisson, you know, it wasn't like we were in some luxury resort, but you're 5 minutes from the venue and you just play Dota, you hang out, you talk about Dota, you see your friends, you get like a week and a half and then everyone flies home. I think it was just kind of the right thing. Like I needed it, to be quite honest. And it was like I don't know how much you slept, Johan. I was sleeping like 3-4 hours a night, which was partly because of the work stuff, but also partly because I didn't want to skip socializing. Because to me, that's what LANs are. It's FOMO. I get hard FOMO, dude. But it was really cool. And this, I wish we had more photos, but there was this like outdoor pool area where you could just like have a beer, smoke shisha, right? And same, I think Johan may have been one of the first people out there that like kind of started it. So like the first night, you got a ring of chairs like this big. The next night, it's a little bigger. The next night, it's a little bigger. And the place progressively stayed open later and later. And the circle of chairs got bigger and bigger to a point where I think we just like took over the place. And it was just really cool because you saw people that maybe were more even like traditionally introverted that were just relaxing, hanging out with their peers and just, part of something. Because that to me is like what Dota's always been about, the community. It's a game that you obsess about. And truthfully, I don't know if you can feel at home when you're not surrounded by people that have that same obsession. Because I mean, me and Johan specifically, how long we've been at this, right? Like, I think Han for me started in like 2008. It's almost 15 years. Pretty soon, it's going to be more than half my life. My entire adult life has been spent on Han or Dota. So I don't know anything else. So this is where these are my people. I want to spend as much time with them as I can because, especially post-pandemic, like you realize how much of of our lives was a blessing and how grateful I am that it's not over yet. Like there's a great line. I wish you knew what the good times were before they're over. I think it's from The Office, of course. But that's this. We're in the good times. I'm pretty sure I'm in the good times. And it was just really nice to have that experience.
Well said.
That's amazing. Well, guys, this is going to be the end of the podcast. Thank you so much for coming. And I really, again, thank you for putting this line together. I knew you were one of the forces behind it. And I think we all very, very grateful because, the major didn't happen. We needed something. You guys came up with this product. Then Galaxy Racer did an amazing job putting this together, funding it and all that. And I think every team showed that when somebody is willing to put this together, we're all willing to go participate and do our best. And yeah, I think, like you said, maybe we talk about DPC another day, but this is the Dota that I grew up watching and the Dota that I love. This week, intense. I don't turn my laptop off at all throughout a week. And then bye-bye, and I see you in a month, And then I kid you more more excited because I have a whole month to miss you,
100%. Man, beautiful. I'm happy Boom won too. Because the whole run through the lower bracket, I mean, we had a great finals. Like it was actually a perfect final. I really enjoyed the cast. I'm glad we got 5 games out of it. Like the whole story, I thought it was really funny that the 2 worst games of the series were cast by the 3 professionals. They're just clowning around like A-class Dota, D-class Dota. Like that only works because that game was such a disaster, but it was so good from a viewing perspective. And yeah, I mean, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Like, I miss Lance. I miss a week and a half long, 2-week story. There's a winner,
And no more Corona.
Well, Kyle,
the world is coming back.
No more Corona.
And we got more Lance.
Thank you so much, Kyle, for coming. Thank you so much, Johan, for being here back. And yeah, guys, we'll do another one. We call it DPCs. But for that one, we actually wanted to invite Caps, remember? So we'll bring Caps and you to talk about North American and DPC. If maybe
you're gonna bring, I'll come back.
Yeah, let's bring Caps and you, and we'll talk about DPC and North America.
Let's go.
I will bring you back with rules. I'm gonna give you rules, the mandates, and I'm gonna make you like one of those like dog themed colors that I have at control.
Bro, I'm just glad to be here. I'm happy to be here.
We're happy to have you.
Just be thankful I'm in this seat.
I can't wait to talk shit about DPC.
I can't wait for it. Let's get Caps next week. Let's see if we can make it happen. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.